Well, hello, it's Dad McClelland again. Yeah, another short video. Well, short. Mine are never short. uh, Another video on some simple projects. This is um, yeah, going to be specifically for Tyler and Mark this time. Not that the other ones weren't, but I heard that they were interested in a couple of specific projects, so I'm going to concentrate on helping them out with those. So Tyler, I think you're working on a belt, and Mark, it was an iPod case or something like that. So pouch. So I'll give you some pointers. I'm not going to actually do a full project, but I'm just going to kind of go through a few things that are going to help you out. Yeah, so we'll probably, yeah, I'll start with a belt. So I'm not going to do a full-size belt, but I'll go through the mechanics of making one and a few things that you can do with different types of leather and so on and so forth. So, and then also go through where you can get some materials. I get most of my stuff on Tandy Leather, but you can, if you know what you're looking for, dimensions wise and so on, there's a lot of different places you can get them. You can get them on Amazon. There's a couple other leather supplies that are essentially just about like Tandy, but anyway, yeah, it just depends on what your budget is and what you're looking for, really. So, and again, whether or not you know exactly what your dimensions are going to be and so on. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and show you. I've got a belt blank that this is something that actually Tandy supplies, but this is made out of veg tanned leather. I've had these sitting around forever. This is essentially a breakdown of what a full size, like I think this is 2 inch. Yeah, 2-inch belt. Let's see here. So it's 2 in, oh, sorry, I was wrong. Inch and a half. Inch and a half. So 2 inches is quite large. So anyway, this is 1.5 inches from one side to the other. As far as length goes, it just kind of depends on the size of you, which is, where'd my tape measure go? There we go. That tape measure that came in your kit will come in real handy. Wrap this around your waist. Get yourself a good measurement of where your belt's going to be, plus about a good 8 to 10 inches for the tail end that's going to get tucked, or that's going to go through your buckle. And which, this is not a great buckle. This is the only size that I had. This is more for like purse straps and stuff like that, but it could be used for a belt buckle, no problem. Just a smaller one. So this is only 1 inch, whereas you would need 1.5 inches if you were going to build a belt this size. So you're going to need, on this end, you're going to need this much from the center of that slot to the end as extra, which I've got this wrapped up backward. So from about the end, let's say 3, possibly 4, or 3.5 inches is plenty, so you can cut a little bit extra off if you need to. And then, so the way that these are put together, give me just a second. I don't have a buckle. I have a D-ring or 2. These are obviously the wrong size, but the buckle would look almost exactly like this and have a prong in it. So, and of course, this is what goes through your hole, so you can set the length. So essentially what that does is you would put the prong through here, just like that. And if this was the right size and the right shape, you would be able, the prong is on here permanently, and it kind of slides back and forth, but you can slide this over top, and you would put the prong through the slot from the bottom, and then you'd fold this over and snap the two together. 2 snaps. Or you can use rivets, Or if you don't have either, you can thread it. As long as you have this already made and have the belt buckle in place, then you can just thread this and sew it, essentially hand sew it. So this is a lot thicker leather than what we've been dealing with. So noticeably different thickness. So you would definitely have to, if you were going to use the leather that we've been using or something similar, you would definitely want to double it like that. And because this is a little bit more flimsy, you can. I think you guys wound up getting some glue. I'm not sure, but glue would definitely help. And then you'd want to sew whatever kind of stitch. At least it needs to be the saddle stitch, which was the first one that I showed you on the wallets. So all the way around it. So I'll go through that, and just for the sake of speed today, I am going to use my punches. And then I'm going to go through how you can use these other stitches on an end stitch like this one, where you've got two pieces that you're stitching it together and you would stitch over the end, just to kind of give you a few more options. So that being said, let me go ahead and get a strip cut here. I'm going to go ahead and make this a 1-inch, and I'll show you how you can use a buckle that's like this versus this. So and I'll show you a picture of one of these with the catch in it. So this here really requires to have well, I'll show you. Let's cut some pieces here. So I'm just going to use the same leather we've been using. There's still quite a bit here from our other little projects. So yeah, so I'm going to cut a nice 1-inch strip. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm lining these two up against each other. Since they fit nice and tight together, I can kind of cheat and use the other side, so I don't have to do any marking on this side. So if I want an 1-inch wide piece on this side, I find out where it is here, which it's right on the 1.5-inch line, and I'm going to move it to the 2.5-inch. I'm just going to add an inch to that, and then move it to the 2.5-inch, and hold it tight and push this over. Now I've got an 1-inch strip right there that I'm going to cut. Next thing we need to glue first. Okay, to glue, I like these. They're called acid brushes. They're super cheap on Amazon. You can get 1,000 for 20 bucks, 10 bucks, I can't remember. So, and then what I usually do is cut it down to about right there. So, and I'm going to go ahead and turn my vacuum on and do it that way, because it spreads these things everywhere, little bristles everywhere. And one of the more difficult parts, just because it's a lot of surface area to put glue on. They're just a little bit more expensive. Yeah, so if you're doing it 1 or 2 times, it's not that big of a deal. Let's see if I can get this open. Come on, let me in there. Here we go. All right, and eventually, it isn't quite big enough for me to get that all dirty. But they actually clean up real easy when they're wet still, or if you just let them dry out completely. So in your case, just kind of work it on. You can do about, if you wanted to do a portion of your belt at a time. That might make it easier, but you want to spread it on both sides. And just kind of work both sides about the same time. You want them to be drying at the same rate. Now the other good thing about this glue, and I should have started out by saying what kind it was. I already said something about it in one of my other videos. But this is called Eco Weld. You get it from Tandy Leather on tandyleather.com. Shipping's a wonderful thing, isn't it? So it's water-based. It's a contact adhesive. So you spread it on, let it kind of not mostly dry, but you're gonna let it set up until it becomes tacky. So like on your belt, if you're doing full size, you could do about right to here or something, or maybe even a full size like this. Put them together, let it sit for a few minutes, and then you can actually pull whatever's not glued apart and work more glue and on both sides and just keep going. What you want to be careful of is as you put it together, not to let it bend, so it doesn't glue unevenly. Oh, the new noise in the background is my fireplace. It's a little chilly in the basement today. So I threw a fire together. And that's the fan on my stove. With this contact cement, you need to make sure that you keep that center lid, because this one leaks a little bit of air, and this stuff will set up in the jar if you don't have both lids on there. But anyway, there's what it looks like. Eco Weld water-based contact adhesive from Tandy Leather. This is an 8-ounce bottle. If you're not using it very often, this is more than enough. So about the time that the white starts going away, you're in a good spot that you can start putting it together. I'm going to go ahead. Eventually the white will go away completely, and you'll just have kind of a shimmer on there. But so when you touch it, you can feel it's kind of tacky, but it doesn't really stick to your fingers. So either lay one piece down, or that's usually the easiest. Line it up one end. And this is another reason why it's nice to have a little bit of extra. And I'm just kind of putting it on a little bit at a time, leaving this end up, and working it down. All right. So laying it down. Oops. So be careful not to do that. Once it gets put together, you can pull it apart a little bit, but you can already start to see that it's wanting to stick. So you gotta be careful. It's not instant, but it's pretty fast. But if you put it together like this, then it's gonna want to stay like that. So yeah, you want to try to lay it down flat. Okay, so now we've got those two pieces together. I want that to bend back about like that. That'll work. Maybe a little more. Move that out on my table here. That's about 2 inches. Let's say 2 inches. Each one of these squares is 1 inch. So I'm gonna measure. I'm gonna bend it back to where it folds over about 2 inches right there. Okay. Squeeze it. And we marked their wallet this way. We'll mark this the same. You know that's on the inside. You can kind of see it. A little bit right there. That's where our bend's going to be. So right there in the center of that, I need slot made. This is going to be interesting. So you want your slot just a little bit larger than the key or the key ring. So maybe not quite 1/8 of an inch, about 3/16, which is not very big. So we're going to find the center of this, the strap, right? So the strap is 1 inch. We're going to find 1/2 inch. And I'm essentially going to put a mark right next to, so there's the line. I'm going to go right on the inside of that line on either side. That's fun to see, isn't it? And then I'm going to make the full notch in there. This one. This is what I'm doing right here, that notch. I'm going to make it 1 inch. That should be plenty. So there's my line. And I'm putting a 1/2 inch mark on my mark so I can take 1 inch or 1/2 inch off either side. Alright, so if you do have a punch, you line that punch right up on the center of that line that you cut, or that you marked, sorry. Usually you use a cutting board. You put holes in this. But it's just two. Okay, so there's that. Alright, fine. Better than that. So we're going to line up right on the edge of that hole. It's going to take a couple passes. I'm not going all the way to that one. I'm going to stop just shy of it so I don't cut past it. Okay. Not perfectly straight, but that's okay. We're all learning, right? Okay, so what's going to happen there is you'll wind up with a snap or sewing this end over after you get this in it. So, so before we go any further, this here is what this is going to do. So I'm going to wrap it in like that, and we're going to put that through. Put that back through the other side with this type of buckle. Pull it tight. And that's how it sits like that. Yeah, so this is where that goes right there. And then a normal belt would wrap back, one that's not this short, would wrap back around like this through there. And your holes would be through there. So you could also make a bracelet similarly. Or wrist wrap or something like that with a smaller buckle, or if you like big chunky stuff you can use one of these big ones too. So typically on these outside edges I like them rounded, so we're going to do our little trick here again and round off the edges. I'm going to flip it over because this side's a little bit small, shy of being even with each other. So I'll line it up with the short side. Give my little mark right there. Same thing on the other side. Do my mark there. Now I'll go ahead and mark this other side as well. So this will be the tail of my belt. Okay. And we should be able to cut these off. I just didn't like starting in the middle. There we go. Okay. So going from there, forgot to put my cap back on my knife. Safety first. Those don't feel good when you poke them in their fingers. Okay. All right, so I'm going to interrupt this video. It's getting kind of long, and I want to make sure that it's not too long. So we're going to stop right now with this section of working on a belt. And let's see, we're just about ready to start punching holes and stitching. So we will resume with that in the next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.